welcome to STR Like the Best. I'm Michael Chang, your host. It's my great pleasure to welcome my friend Travis Hall. Travis is based in Long Beach, California. He's a realtor. 1% of his day, the other 99% he spends on short-term rentals. Well, Travis, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. This is my first podcast ever, so please have some patience and grace for me.
Absolutely. We're the kindest podcast out there. So this will be a great conversation. I'm really excited about this. We met in Nashville about almost 2 months ago, and I think we were at a hospitable party, and I really enjoyed our conversation. So I'm like super excited to have us to catch up and talk. You are doing some really cool stuff, and I want to dig in on it like immediately. You started an arbitrage unit, you're bought something with creative financing in Memphis, and now you're working on 2 really cool projects. So I want to hit on all of that. But before we start, and I didn't give you time to prepare for this for everyone's benefit, but I kind of ask this question at the beginning. What is your kind of craziest short-term rental story since you've been doing this?
I'm glad you asked. I do have one loaded up because This is also a question I love to ask people, especially when they have dozens of units. You hear wild stuff, but craziest one, or I guess the one that caught me off the most, I got a message from a guest. Hey, Travis, I'm locked inside the garage. And I didn't understand how that was possible, but actually in the unit behind me, this is a duplex, we have a garage door that you can pull open and close. On the outside, there's a latch that you can put a padlock on to keep anyone from getting in there. They went inside, closed the door, put the latch closed for some reason, didn't lock it, but closed it. And then for fire safety, when you go inside the garage through the house, that door's supposed to close. That door closed and locked themselves in. They couldn't push the door open. They couldn't get back in the kitchen. So luckily, I was over there. I was able to walk over and open the garage door. And when the garage door opened up, there was like 3 people like in the dark. I was so glad to see the light.
The pretty tame story, but good. The good you were close by there. It's kind of like getting stuck in an elevator. I was just like that's probably, it is one of my fears. Like when I hear the elevator go, oh man, I don't think anything bad had happened, but just also being stuck in a little confined space without being able to get out for like hours on end. It's always scary, but good thing you're close by. So tell us, like, how did you start? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you start short-term rentals? I know you're a realtor, so you already love real estate. How'd you get into short-term rentals?
Man, I feel like just dumb luck is how I got into short-term rentals, really. When we bought our first house, like I said, a duplex, a more experienced realtor said, get a duplex, get a multifamily if you can. And then he basically explained house hacking to us. We had no idea what that was. Once we got the house, that tenant moved out shortly afterward, and I heard a podcast talking about short-term rentals. I thought, hey, let's just give it a shot. We basically left all of our old furniture. We did everything wrong, Michael. We left all of our old furniture from our apartment in there just to test it out. And within maybe 20 days, our mortgage was covered. We're like, holy crap, like this works. And without any professionality, just like learning as we're going. And so that was October 2021. And so we're just about a year and a half into it. And once we started seeing that success with that, we just really wanted to learn more. And so we've revamped a lot of things. A few months after that, I got an arbitrage just a few streets down because I wanted to get something a little bit more removed than just the wall behind me, and set up a few more smaller properties. A little camper van, I set up that as a Airbnb. And so that gets booked up like maybe once a month or like for a weekend, a month or so. And then I have just kept going from there.
Awesome. That's great. Look, that's awesome that you took action, right? You heard a podcast, you bought something, heard a podcast. Let's just try it. And it's great. You're taking existing furniture. You probably put in maybe a couple $100, but just something small just to see if it works, right? And I think that's a lot of times like people struggle with just starting. And I really always push that, just start, right? And sometimes there's only like a certain max loss, right? I lost a couple $100, a couple $1,000, but like just the act of starting, it just like, it opens up so many doors. So it's so cool to hear that you did that. Okay. So house hack, probably not the best situation to have one wall dividing. You're like, okay, let's grow this business. This works. My mortgage is covered. I got my arbitrage unit. Tell us like kind of, did you get more arbitrage units in Long Beach, California, or did you start venturing out from there?
So the first arbitrage, also not ideal. And I discovered your channel a few months, maybe 6 months ago. So when I met you at the conference, I was like, oh, that's Michael. Unfortunately, I wasn't listening to your podcast before I got the arbitrage because I probably could have saved myself a bunch of dumb mistakes that I did in getting that one. That one's also a multifamily. And so unfortunately, my neighbors don't take care of their property. And I've had to give several refunds of, hey man, this place looks trashy just because there's junk outside. And so learning with that, but I think I probably will keep at least one arbitrage here in Long Beach just because it's so popular and you have all the benefits of arbitrage while still having one in Southern California. So I probably won't
Yep.
expand into that, but I'll probably still keep one just because of the cash flow and all the conveniences of that.
Got it. So and I love diving into numbers. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, so the one that tell us about the one that you started off with, right? How big is you bought a duplex? Is it like the one that you're renting out? Is it how big is it? What's the layout?
It's a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath. It has a 2 car garage below it. And the way the duplex is set out is we share a wall behind us. No, I don't ever
Okay.
hear feet above me. I'm not worried about making noise for the people below me. So it's ideal. It has a shared driveway.
Okay. Cool. Awesome.
As far as the numbers go, are you curious?
So they have
Is
their
that what it
own
lands on?
garage.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So but before we hit there, so three, two. Do they have that? They can park 2 cars there or no?
Yeah, they can fit
Like
two
they
small
can use
cars
that
inside
garage.
the garage. Correct.
Oh, okay. Cool. Awesome. Is parking important in Long Beach? Is it important to
Oh
have parking
man.
there?
Yeah, great question for context. So Long Beach was not a city designed with tons of either just driveways to have your car in the driveway. And as the city has expanded, parking is a premium in this area. And so our street is no exception. We luckily they can park 2 cars in the garage, which is a huge plus. And so for a long time I had a 3 bed house with garage. But to a lot of people, they're like, yeah, like that's standard. Like what house doesn't have it? In Long Beach, it is a blessing if you have a
Oh,
garage.
wow. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Look, and that's the beauty of doing stuff in your backyard. Like you just know, like those little nuances that a lot of people that aren't in your submarket can really appreciate. Okay. So you've been doing that. That's been operating for a year and a half. So what's your gross on that?
We average about 84,000 a year. So approximately
Wow.
7,000 a month would be our total revenue from the property. The mortgage on the house is about 5,800. So as soon as we pass 5,800, we're like, whoo, we're good. We're paying off. Of course, we have utilities as well, and so on average, we probably pocket anywhere from 500 to some months if it's slower. Our living expense might be $200. So anywhere from 500 to $200 out of pocket.
Travis, man, like you're living in Long Beach, California, rent free,
Yeah.
and you own the house, right? So the equity appreciation, taxes, all that fun stuff, and you live for free. You know the way that's laid out, it's perfect because obviously, like living above or below a short term rental has its issues, but if you're like side to side, that's actually perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. So congrats on that. That's fantastic. So that is a solid foundation to your next move into my favorite state, or my second favorite state, Tennessee. So tell us what you're doing in Tennessee.
Okay. This next project that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yes.
in Tennessee, we are in under contract on a 28 acre. It's actually 2 lots, but basically what I'm trying to buy is a 28 acre piece of land that has a single family home on it. And sorry, Michael, do you want me to talk about that one or the
Oh, I
specific
was
one
actually
that you're
referring to
on?
Memphis, but if you want to talk about the glamping site, it'd be great. Oh, no worries. If you want to talk about the glamping site, great too. But I was actually referring to your Memphis project.
Okay. Yeah. We'll touch on that one first. Sorry about that. So in Memphis, me and a investing
No,
partner
no, all good.
found
No
Memphis as a
worries.
property. And then we eventually, after making so many offers, got in touch with an agent who wanted to sell their home, seller finance with creative financing as well. So we were able to take over a real estate agent's 5 bedroom, 3 bath home for about $60,000, including furnishings. So I think it was about 43,000 for the down payment and about 23 or so for the furniture. So I think it was, yeah, I think it's about 68,000. Got the home. His mortgage payment is about $1,900 a month with a 3.1% interest rate.
Oh my God.
That home has been doing very good for us. We're expected to bring in about $6,500 per month in average over 12 months. And yeah, as far as the bookings have gone, we've only had a few empty days since the middle of March when we got started.
So let's talk about. There's a bunch of things I want to unpack there, right? First off, like you seem to have the Midas touch, or everything you're touching is doing very well. So kudos to you on having a good eye for real estate. So let's recap. So it's a 5.5 in Memphis that you've had for about 2 months now. Seller financing, actually this. Explain explain exactly what you did for the people that don't understand seller financing. What does that actually mean at a very high level?
Great question. So seller finance is basically the owner who has the property is funding your purchase of that deal. So ours is a little complicated because we did seller finance and subject to. A lot of people just assume that's all the same thing. Those both fall under the category of creative finance, meaning it's not your traditional finance, it's creative. So we did seller finance, and to be exact on that one, he seller financed $110,000 at 0% interest for 8 years. So he lent us that. Then the subject to is we are taking over his existing mortgage with his interest rate and making those payments on his behalf. So his payment before we bought it was $1,900. After we buy it, it's still $1,900, and the mortgage is still in his name. The deed and the title is in our name. The mortgage is in his name. We pay it on his behalf.
Fantastic. How that sounds complicated, and I want to hit on the short-term rentals side for sure, but that sounds complicated. Did you have a lawyer go and draft all the documents? Because I could think on his side, right? The deed is now in your name. The mortgage is still in his name. And you're obviously a good guy. You're not going to do this. But if I was on the seller side, what I would say is, what if you just don't pay the mortgage? What do I do?
Exactly. The big question that every seller has is, what happens if you stop paying? That debt, that foreclosure goes in my name, not in your name. You still have the title of the house. In our contract, they have the right to foreclosure. So we still gave them a down payment. They got, in our example, about $43,000 or so. If we stop making payments, he takes the house back and he has $43,000. So he has that to fall back on.
Got it.
Way he can foreclose. So that's in the contract. Yes, we own the deed, yet he has the first right to the property if we foreclose. The second thing that I would say is really important would be, I know about this much seller finance. I understand it at a high level. It sounds great. Wouldn't you want to get seller finance at 3% interest all day long? But that's not my expertise. My investing partner, he's in a very popular seller finance creative subject to group. It's a paid coaching program. It's probably the biggest one. It's through Pace Morby. So he has resources to all these materials, lawyers, contracts. So that was his side of the deal. I'm doing the short-term side. He negotiated everything. I get all the benefit of saying, 3.1% interest rate. Oh, low down payment. That's about all I know for that side. He had to set up all the contracts. The lawyers had to assure the seller, this is why it's safe. This has been going on for years. This is how you can benefit. This is how we benefit as well. Got
it. Okay. Yeah, no, I've never done one. I've also just read about it too. Because and probably outside the scope of this conversation, but my question always on those are like, and it's from my investment banking background, is just like where you are in the seniority of that cap stack. So just a different way of saying, the mortgage has they have the first lien. Correct. And then the seller finance paper, that 8 years at 0%. Like if your partner is a genius, that's fantastic outcome. 8 years at 0%. I assume a bullet there at the end or you have to refinance or do something with it. And then the seller is on third position actually, because he's in the second position because he has the debt piece and then he has the equity piece that he can foreclose for you on. That's always like maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's always, I haven't been able to wrap my mind around that. I need to do more work on that. But that aside, like that's a fantastic outcome for you, especially that you've been able to have 4 nights of vacancy in what is probably a typically slow season in Memphis, I would assume March, April. And now you're going to hit the summer and you're going to kill it.
Yeah, no, definitely in March, gloomy weather most of the time. Yet April, I think a lot of schools are in spring break. And so it was pretty packed during April. Only a couple weeknights that were vacant, but it's been okay for us so far.
Why the 5 bedroom? What makes the 5 bedroom special in Memphis?
Yeah, so when you look at all the active listings like today in Memphis, well, so Memphis is a huge city, over 600,000 people. It's the biggest metro in this part of the country.
Oh, is it really?
When you
Oh, I
look
didn't know.
at the
Okay.
5 bedroom homes, there's about 40 or so that exist. Okay. When you start looking at the ones that are operate at a superhost level, there's like 12. Okay.
Okay.
When you look at a 4 bedroom home, there's 300. And when you jump down to a 3-2, the most common home in America, it's in the thousands. Off the bat, just with having 5 bedrooms, I'm instantly in a smaller pool of competition. And then when you add in how professional are they with their reviews, I'm like in 1 out of 12 or 1 out of 15, something like that.
Fantastic. You're choosing, and this is a great point that I want to highlight. You, being successful in the short-term rental game, it's a lot of it's about just choosing which pawn, which game that you play. And I think for you, it's smart, right? Like you found a good market, but within that market, what actually works, right? 3 bedrooms sounds fairly saturated. 5 bedrooms, only 40. And then if you break it down even further, it's only in the teens. So talk us through a little bit about how you did that. Like what data source did you use? Like how did you get to how did you construct this game for yourself where you're likely to win?
Definitely. So again, with this house, just like how I got started, I feel like Michael, it was just dumb luck. I'm not the brilliant investor architecting everything. Now I feel like, man, I need to be so picky with what I'm getting, but so far everything's been working tremendously for me. But basically, this house, and even going back to like how did seller finance work? The person we talked to suggested it to us. So that was one big objection is like, hey, I'm interested in doing that. So we didn't have to do a whole lot of convincing. They presented that to us. We're like, okay, yeah, we'll take a look at it. It was a 5 bedroom, and we're like, that wasn't ideally what we were looking for. We were looking for something a smaller price range, but all the numbers worked out. And then basically after the fact, we're like, hey, there's only 40 other homes in Memphis that are large, and then of those, only 25% of those are doing a decent job, like the
Yeah.
basics of operating. And the way we found that out
On
would be with Price Labs was of course like the a huge help as far as what could we expect for revenue. How many listings are there? Price Labs was able to give us all that, and then right away we could click on those homes. What do they look like on the inside? What are their reviews? What's their occupancy? What's their nightly rate?
Got it. Fantastic. That using, yeah, like speaks to doing the work, using data to your advantage, not just relying on anecdotes from someone in that market or from the seller, and just using that to frame your decision. Fantastic. On Let me ask you on this: did he ask for above market price, or was the price that he wanted comparable to what other 5 bedrooms were going for in Memphis at the time?
Yeah, almost always when you do seller finance or creative finance, the big strength to the seller is, Michael, I know you want to sell your home at $480,000, but if you would do seller finance, we could give you 500. So that's usually the strong pull to a seller to do that. And so that's exactly what we did. His home was on the market for about 485. We wrote up our offer to be 505,
Oh,
but
got it. Okay.
majority of it him carrying the debt.
Yeah, no, I haven't run the math, but if it's only if it costs you 20,000 to get a 3.1 rate and get someone to write a 0% 8 year financing deal for you, that's more than worth it. So kudos again to you and your partners. Okay, so let's go back to that deal. So you think you'll do about 70, 75? Let's just make it round number 75 this year.
Okay.
After all expenses, what do you think you're going to net for the year for this property?
Based on our like pro forma, I believe we're trying to net approximately $2,000 per month. And so we're hoping to net about 24 at the end of the day.
Fantastic. Do you have like the systems pretty dialed in? Do you have like a PMS system? You obviously have Price Labs. Do you have a good cleaning? Do you have a good cleaning? How do you find your cleaning team on the ground?
Man, I could have given you a horror story. When you asked, oh, what's a scary story? My Memphis cleaner could have been a scary story. Basically, I found my first cleaner I found on Facebook, just like in a cleaning group, and that worked out good for a little bit. But then I just started noticing getting these really strange charges from her that were extra or just out of the blue.
Like
Eventually, I went
what?
with another referral for another cleaner, and so far that's been wonderful. It's been a cleaner handyman combo, and
Awesome.
able to set up video doorbell for me, replacing, giving me helpful suggestions like, "Hey, Travis, your coffee maker is good. Why don't you try this one instead?" It's just been very helpful with that. But so my cleaner's been great so far. But yeah, I use Hospitable for my messaging service. That's been great
Okay.
for everything so far. Cleaner's been great. Handyman, okay. And then I guess a few other improvements we want to do down the road is we definitely want to add a hot tub. That's another big amenity that so many listings are missing. But when you
Yep.
look at I think one of the top performing ones is a pool hot tub combo, and
Wow.
that one's grossing closer to, I think, 130 is the price I've
Oh
estimate,
my gosh.
which
Oh,
leaves
you got to do that
which leaves
immediately. Yeah.
a huge gap between number one and two, just with that little amenity. And so we'll also have our team set up something like that in hopefully the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Hot tubs definitely now are all the rage. It is like it is like the short term rental amenity that has the highest ROI right now. So good for you to put that in. Highly recommend doing that. We've done that in our cabins in Tennessee and have seen some really good results. I think you talked a little bit. So let's transition topics for a second. We talked about this a little bit. What are your two new projects coming up? There's some really interesting stuff that I really want to touch on. Let's start with the Joshua Tree one.
Okay, we'll start closer to me and then work my way toward you. Okay.
Fair enough.
So as of, I think, Thursday or Friday of this past week, the April 30th or 29th, we closed on a 10-acre lot in Joshua Tree. The purchase price, I think they had it listed at 95, and I was able to represent us and negotiate and show comps. We got it for 82. So a
Awesome.
little bit of a discount. It has water on the lot, which is a huge deal. And Joshua Tree is a big desert, and there's already restrictions on getting well access, but we have city water so that we're able to circumvent that issue. And our plan is to build 10 luxury campsites or glamp sites that have a shower, have a bathroom, maybe a small like cooking area, all self-contained and spacious enough to where we're not trying to pack people in there like sardines, but through San Bernardino County, we're allowed to have 10 with a conditional use permit. So that's what we're planning for. We have 10 acres. We want to have 10 campsites evenly spaced out. And then
Wow. Okay.
also RV hookups are huge. And I feel like that's such an awesome opportunity for low maintenance. You're not providing towels
Yeah.
or anything. You're providing water and power, and that's it. There's no cleaning, there's no turnover, and those can bring in $50 a night
Yeah.
in some of these areas. And so we're also on the edge of our property have a few of those sites as well, where you can drive your RV in, get hookups, and stay there as long as you'd like.
That's awesome. Yeah, we did some work on RV parks before, and they can do really well. Tell me about the glamping site though. Is it hard to? You kind of have to build your own. You got to build these, right? So you got to ship them out and
Yeah.
construct them and maintain them. And how do you do all that?
I wish I could tell you like, oh, Michael, this is how we did it. We're just in the theoretical phase right now, man. I'm like, in my mind, it makes sense, but yeah, we still have to execute it. One thing that's going for me is my partner, Casey, on this deal, super, super crafty, has construction experience. His dad has construction experience. Man, I feel like I'm just going along. I'm as willing. I'm going to drive my van out there and I'll work in the desert alongside them for sweat equity, but I'm really in a partnership. We both have our strengths and weaknesses. So I'm going to really lean on them for a lot of the construction side. I've got some ideas. We want something that's going to be durable. So a canvas
Yeah.
tent is good for a few years, but then you have to replace it. And so
All
we're
right.
probably moving away from that. We want something a little more durable that's going to at least have a 10-year lifespan before any required maintenance on it. So even
What is
something
that?
like a
What's 10 years? What can survive 10 years in the desert? I'm really curious because I went to Joshua Tree a few years ago. Like I love it. It's pretty beautiful, but it's 110 during the day and like negative 110. There's some pretty drastic
talking about the moon. The
temperature
moon is
changes.
110 on the sun side and then negative 110. But no, yeah, it does get up there. In the summer, that's definitely the slowest season because it is up there in the triple digits. In the winter, yeah, it can get below freezing. What we're picturing is more is probably closer to a small cabin, like a stick build, possibly. Or
Okay.
we even entertained the idea of a geodesic dome. So it's a hard shell on the outside, but it would be just very similar to other construction out there. So
Gotcha.
that's
Gotcha.
what we're
Okay.
picturing. Probably about
And
400 square foot max, something
oh,
small.
that's small. Okay. It's like
Mhm.
couples and stuff from LA. That makes sense.
Exactly.
How do you
Yeah.
find
No,
how do you
our
finance something
ideal
like that?
request is
Oh, go
two
ahead. Sorry.
people for this.
How do you get financing for something like that? For
We're
cash?
we brought in a capital partner to buy the land. So my partner Casey and I both brought about $3,000 to the table, and then the rest of it is being financed by a equity partner who's bringing everything else we need about to purchase the land, and then plenty of cushion. But we're, instead of just using that cash to build one or two units, which is about all we could do with the capital brought, we're going to get an SBA loan. So we're actually in the process right now of securing more financing with the capital that we have so we can construct everything at once.
Fantastic. You're doing great, man. You're leveraging all the different creative financing techniques that are out there. Like, this is such a creative project. You're getting land, but it sounds like the permitting and you've thought ahead about the permitting, the water, power. I don't know, but I presume you'll figure that out.
We need power. Yep.
And, yeah, and then having people with construction experience using SBA, and then you have your creative financing at 3.1 in Memphis. You house hacked your duplex into someone paying your mortgage for you, and you have a driveway that was probably such a premium in your location. Fantastic! Like, just really, really well done. Love it. I love it. It's fantastic. But now to coup de grace, right? The one that you're working on. I think you said you're in escrow. Tell us about the other project you have ongoing.
The other one has some similarities. So this is in a town called Clinton, Tennessee. It's just west of Knoxville. And this is a larger property project. It's a 28-acre property. It has a 3-bed, 1-bath house on it, and then a detached garage that's about 1,600 square feet. And on that property as well, there's 4 dilapidated, disgusting mobile homes that need to get moved out, sold out, burned out, something. But that's what's on there right now. And we're trying to do something, I guess, similar with this property. Ideally, we found out through Anderson County, they don't want a permanent structure on a lot. Or they don't want more than one permanent structure on a lot. And so right now, as it sits, it's 2 lots at about 14 acres. So what we're going to do is slice and dice up the land so they each are on different lots. So we can put tiny homes as well, but more like maybe cabin or A-frame style
Uh-huh.
homes on these smaller lots. And then on the back 20 acres, just copy and paste, glamp site back there on the hills. So you have a view of the valley. That's what we're working on right now.
Got it. And then is the same partner or different partner on this project?
Totally different people, but almost identical setup. I brought a capital partner that I think is bringing the exact same amount of money. I don't know what's so magical about this number, but they both are bringing the exact same amount of capital. And then
Okay.
my other partner his name is Hugo. He lives in Knoxville, very familiar with the area. And he's been my boots on the ground as far as meeting up with GCs to get quotes. He's going to help. He's also, I'm going to be a huge help with the boots on the ground for our personnel. So once we have nine campsites in Tennessee, they don't want 10. They said you can do 9 without a special permit. So I'm like, okay, we'll just start with 9. So he's going to be managing the turnover for 9 campsites and then for all the houses as well. So he's going to be a huge part of the
Okay.
operations as far as managing handyman and cleaners for that.
So I got a quick look. I think there's a common thread here that I haven't hit on that I want to hit before we end the conversation. How are you finding such great partners? I think a lot of people, like, that's why there's probably a big struggle, right? They have one set of skills they're probably really good at, and they're lacking another part, or they don't have the time. You seem to have found some really awesome partners. What's the secret?
Bro, dumb luck is the story of my life, I feel like, Michael. I don't know, man. It just feels like, okay, one thing a big pain I had at the very beginning when I was just getting started at Airbnbs is, man, I'm running out of capital. How do I convince a person to give me money to make them money? And when you have that attitude, it's like a red flag. It's like, man, this person's desperate. I don't want to put any capital with them. They just seem too desperate. But so I had the first 3 short-term rentals, I had to finance myself. And then once those were successful, then I was able to casually let people know this is what I do. And then they were like, how can I help? How can I get started? So the power dynamic totally changed to where this is what I'm doing. I'm doing okay just as I am. I'm not begging for money. I'm not begging for your business. And so capital partners came that way. So they saw some success. They saw the blueprint. And even as I'd pitch ideas to them, I would always say, if this sounds good to you, great. If not, no pressure. Let me know what you're looking for. And when a deal like that comes along, you'll be the first person that I come to. And so for both these deals, when I pitched the project to them, they were like, yes, we'll do that. So for capital. And then for the other partners, man, I don't know if it's just like God's sovereignty, whatever, but just the people I've been working with so far have just been such a huge blessing. Actually, Casey, before we even jumped into this massive project, he and I bought a sailboat on Craigslist and made that an Airbnb at Marina Del Rey. So we got a little bit of like practice as partners with just a little bit of capital. Seller finance again. Here's the quick numbers. The boat was $12,000. I presented, hey, we'll give you 25% down, $3,000, and we'll make payments each month at 0%. And the owner said, sure. And so then we turned that into an Airbnb and rented that out in Marina Del Rey. That's how Casey and I worked out our partnership kind of agreements. It was something like that. And then from there,
how'd you find Casey? Like, how'd you find Casey? Like, how'd you and Casey meet?
Just at a short-term rental summit. Actually, it's Tony and Sarah Robinson's Newport Beach. I think it was their first STR summit at Newport Beach. And we just met up there, and the sailboat thing came up again. There we're like, hey, we thought about sailboats. And so we both started talking about sailboats, what a great opportunity it is. And then a month later, we bought a boat and then turned it into a short-term rental.
Fantastic. Shout out to Tony and Sarah. We met them a few years ago. Great people. And look, and again, and I think this highlights networking, like going out and putting yourself out, there. I think a lot of what you talked about, hey, this is what I do. You never know, like the universe kind of will come to you if you put your story out there and you're a good person and work hard and are honest about stuff. People like that and will resonate and find you. I do want to, but before I let you go, I do want to hear on that. I've never heard about Airbnb a sailboat. I've heard RVs. One of my buddies, Jeremy, he has an RV on his parents' house in North Carolina and a lot. How do you? Can he go out and sail? Can he go and sail, or is this just docked at the Marina Del Rey? They just come in and out. Like, how does that? Who manages it? Like, how does that all work? I'm super curious, actually.
Michael, if we let Airbnb people take off in a sailboat, that boat would be in the bottom of the ocean right now. You know that. So for that, we just made it so abundantly clear. This boat does not leave the dock. There's no keys to start the engine, even if you have sailing experience. No. So we just tied it off, and it was just to stay in overnight. Long story short is we eventually sold that boat because the marina, of course, was not happy with what we were doing. But it was a glorious 2 months. It was a glorious 2 months of being. We called it a yacht. It was like a 27-foot sailboat, but in my mind, it was more like a glamorous yacht.
That's very good.
We gave them kayaks to paddle around the marina, and it had a little kitchen in there, a little bathroom, like a little triangle-shaped bed. I couldn't even stand up in the boat. It's a lower ceiling, and so
you're a tall guy though, so people can't see. You're also you're like me. You're a tall dude too. So did you make money on that deal?
Yeah.
The 12K, did you get it back? Did you?
Yeah. So we bought it for 12. The cool thing is, as we were making those zero interest payments, for those 2 months, the bookings paid for the slip fee, which was like $700, and then our monthly payment was like $750. And so for those 2 months, all those payments were covered. And then once we got the kind letter from the marina to definitely stop, we just turned around. We apologized, let them know that we'll stop, and then we turned around and sold it for about 15. There you go. So we got 15 in cash, and then according to our arrangement, we could still make payments on that. But eventually, we want to just pay off the lien holder on the boat so that the new owner could get the title free and clear. So we walked away with a couple of grand back in our pocket, and crazy story.
And also more importantly, an awesome partnership.
That's probably the most valuable part of that it was a partner I can trust and have an awesome time working with. Yeah.
That's awesome. Shout out to Kate. We got to get him on the show. And I just and I always tell this to the people that I work with, my students, is just start. Right? Even if it's just a sailboat that you only ran for 2 months, it doesn't matter, right? Like, just start, and it just leads to greener pastures. And don't just the analysis, analysis by paralysis by analysis. I don't know, whatever, however that term goes. It's such a killer because like you just end up not doing anything, and it might seem to be the most riskless thing to do. It's not doing anything. It's actually the most wasteful thing because the thing that you're wasting is the time, right? And time is, I don't care if you're Jeff Bezos or whoever, hundreds of billions of dollars, like you never can earn that time back that you're just letting go away. So whatever you decide to do, just take action. Like really just take action. And the more action you take, the more doors are open up and you're end up like Travis with, gosh, a house that's like paid off, right? If you do it right and cash flow, like beautiful house in Memphis. You got some really cool projects going on. Really awesome. We'll have you on 12 months from now and get an update on the progress. Okay.
Oh, awesome, man. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I totally agree. The riskiest thing you can do is not get started.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. That's what I think.
No, obviously do the work. Don't just like willy-nilly and just do something on a lark. But if you've done the work, and there's always going to be risks in life and business, so just take that leap forward. As we, and as we end the conversation here, I ask my traditional closing question. Short-term rentals, just like business, is a long-term, it's a team sport. And what's one of the kindest things that someone has done for you on your journey so far in the last 2 years?
Your question is, what are the kindest things people have done?
Yeah, what is one of the kindest things that someone has done for you?
There's a couple things. One, getting positive reviews of my listings, even though that's the bread and butter, and you think that reviews also deserve, but hearing details like, hey, Travis, this was the one vacation that we had this year, and we went to your place, and then we went to Disneyland, and then we did Universal. To hear that, wow, they picked my place for their one trip of that year, that makes my heart, I just feel like that is so sweet. And I'm doing my best to give them a good stay. But for me, I just feel like what an honor that we can be in this business to give people hospitality, professional hospitality. That's huge. And then other little things like I'm on a realtor Facebook group and I let people know that I'm doing short-term rentals. When a person asks, hey, another realtor asks, hey, I have a client that they've heard all the buzz about short-term rentals. Does anyone know anyone doing short-term rentals? Random people that I've had a limited conversation with will say, Travis Hall does. I'm like, they're not asking for a referral fee or anything. I don't even know them that well, but just like them bringing up my name when their clients have a question, to me, I feel like that's just so sweet. It's so kind. Like I want to give them business for even just thinking of me. But those are two kind things that I think have happened.
That's fine. And you're a good guy, and I think we can all hear that from our last kind of conversation for the last 30 minutes. And kudos to you for doing a great job, and look forward to great things ahead. Thank you for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thank you for thinking of me and inviting me on.
Thanks, Travis.